Hello, this is William Robinson with ViralHair.com, and today we're speaking to
CJ Peterson
and Davy Jones.
And they're working on a project together called?
It's a Chief and Sarge adventure, and this one's A Day in the Races, A Lesson in Friendship.
Okay, so how did this project come about for you guys?
Well, initially, I'm not really a children's author. I will own that fact. It was an honest mistake that was good. I write big people books, and so I do have a lot of big people books. I have 14 out, I think, right now, of novels, or just novels, and I'm in 2 different anthologies as well, going on 3 for Christmas time. But I love monkeys, and I collect monkeys. So we have monkeys from around the world that are hanging up in what I call my treehouse, which is my office. And so this little guy started it. This is Sarge, and we started with him. And we got him at Camp Pendleton because my husband's retired Navy. So that's important. Right. He's retired Navy. 20 of his 24 years, he was a doc for the Marines. That will come into play. So this little guy had a USMC kerchief on, and we got him on base. And I'm like, I have to have him. So, of course, monkeys are naughty little buggers. And so we named him Sarge because he was in the United States Marine Corps. And so we took him on different adventures, had fun with him, and people just fell in love with the pictures. Because he can get into all the places that little kids want to get into, but they can't get into. They're not allowed. So whenever we toured anything, he'd just take pictures hanging around, messing with the stereo, everything a little kid has wanted to do. And people loved the naughty little monkey. And so after a couple places we went to, and it was Jacksonville, and it was Pensacola, the USS Kid, I'm like, he needs a brother. Soften him up a little bit.
Which is the koala.
Which in came Chief, because my husband's a retired Navy senior chief. And he's very laid back, very sweet, very kind, which is Chief's personality. So you have the naughty one and the nice one. And so they're brothers. We adopted them, quote unquote, from the Little Lamb Orphanage, is what we say. And we've taken them on adventures. We carry them literally in a backpack. I call them the little guys in the bag. And we took them, the first one was on a cruise. And my husband even took them down the water slide. He'd have the camera behind their head and literally took them down the swifty, twisty water slide from Carnival Cruise. And so we turned the first book, Cruising Adventures in Chief and Sarge, Book 1.
Right.
And so the pictures, people love them. They get their pictures taken with them all the time. If you go to their website page, they have pictures of people everywhere. And you can see some of the pictures from the website in the cruising. Well, this one came because we took them last year to JJ's Arm Drop, which is drag racing in the U.S., the Memphis Street Outlaws. And so that's where this one originated. We literally took them to the races, and the racers autographed their shirts. All the races played along. They actually got the pictures taken with Chief and Sarge. It was great. Even name brand ones like JJ and his wife Trisha and Precious, they all got their pictures taken, which are on the website as well. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, and Tina says, look, I have 2 granddaughters who are always fighting over their friends. I said, why are they fighting over their friends? Like, well, this is her friend supposedly, and that's the other one's friend. So I'm like, okay, got it. So what we're doing is we're taking a day at the races, a lesson in friendship. So we're taking that day that we took them to the races, and we're converting it into a lesson regarding friendship and love, basically.
Okay.
That's the long version.
Now, Davy, you do Charmy's Army, and one of the sidekicks for these guys is a crazy monkey.
Yep.
So,
and as far as personalities go, it's kind of the same. He's always getting in trouble. The thing is, with my script, I don't really have any of the balance, the yin yang. I don't have the nice. Everybody's kind of crazy in my comic script, but it works really well, and so I can really relate to the monkeys. Plus, my name's Davy Jones. That kind of helps. That's an old monkey reference.
You just dated all of us.
So, with you doing the kind of work you do, which is the comic strips and the way out adventures there, and then you're grounded in the adult novels. So, how does this come together and say, hey, Davy,
Well, they invited me on a podcast, and so that's when I met CJ, and we just kind of hit it off really well. And then you saw my art style, and you can kind of go from there and elaborate on that. But my drawing style that I use is a little bit unique in the cartooning world, where my panels on my comic strip change from panel to panel. I want to make sure I change my scenes around. I think that's probably what caught your eye. was the fact that I had a lot of detail in everything I do. I want to make sure whenever I'm doing my strip itself, every panel is supposed to catch your attention. So as the story progresses in just 4 short panel strips, I make sure that every panel changes a little bit, your mannerisms, your expressions and everything sell the story. And I think that's what a good children's book needs. You need the appropriate pictures to fall in line with the story and help tell the story. It could be just something simple with just a little smile or a little gesture with the hands, just something to emphasize the emotions. Because when you read it, you kind of visualize what's going on, but it helps a lot if you're actually depicting the pictures exactly how the emotions are supposed to be played out. It really helps the reader kind of feel the passion going in with each of the characters.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because the kids will comprehend that.
The first book was good, but in talking to Davy on the con hour, which I'm a co-host of, that's where we ran across him, and I'm just like, he's very detail-oriented, loves monkeys. I saw the monkey, and I'm like, okay, there's a connection there. We got to do it. And then just the idea of being able to dive deeper into the story. The first Chief and Sarge was a little bit surface level, and so this one's going to go down a lot deeper because what he can do with the details. And we get along great. We're usually on the same page.
Yeah.
I think we've ever really been off the same page.
No.
We're pretty much right in line with each other, and it's great. It's a great working. I give him the words and the ideas, and he takes them and puts them into print.
And a couple of times I've come up with like little quirky little things, like the little kiss on the forehead on the one scene where, let's see, right here, a little kiss on the forehead. So she's like, oh, that's so cute. So then we incorporated the kiss on the forehead into the story. So the working relationship's been really, 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 really good. I've really been enjoying this.
So this is, y'all done, you did another Chief and Sergeant book before this?
I did, with a different illustrator.
But this is your first time working with Davy then?
Yes.
Okay. And so how far are y'all along into this project right now?
Well, the wording is done.
Yeah,
I think we're
waiting on
about
me.
halfway. Waiting on somebody else. But the beauty is, if you can look at these pictures, I don't know if you can see it.
Zoom in just a little here. Okay.
He actually sketches out each one before he inks each one, and then he colors each one. So in trying to get them, like he mentioned with this one in particular, I put that she hugged Chief or Sarge, and then he's like, well, what if you do a kiss on the head? That seems really sweet, and that sounds like what a parent would do too, and we're able to do that. But he takes each one and he just individually does them, and here's a few of the other samples that I've shared, different ones. And we have fun with it. Now, what he initially did was he said, okay, give me your personalities and that sort of stuff, so I know, what I'm looking at and what I'm working for. And so we went through and I told him each of our little personalities, our little quirks, that sort of thing. I can't find the initial. Oh, here it is. So what he did for a couple of them is for the cat, Samson. Samson is a 20-pound Maine Coon mixed cat. He's kind of small. But he took a couple different ideas and he came up with one that he thought best fit.
Right.
Trying to get that style to match this right. Sometimes when I first start drawing, I'll try and draw it realistically at first, and then just start backing it up until I get that cartoon look just right, to where it still looks like the character that I initially started from.
And the beauty is people that are following Chief and Sarge's stuff, which on social media, they're at Chief, the letter N, and Sarge for all of their handles. And we've been doing some behind the scenes, like the one I just showed earlier. This is me, and then he started with Samson, and then this is the finished version of Samson.
Right.
So you can see how he kind of takes it in different phases till he has it narrowed down. So he had to narrow down the characters first, and then he was able to start to put us into the story, because it's me and my husband. We did the quizzes and stuff. It's Chief and Sarge, and then there's the cat Samson, who's 12 and a half now, so he's like the wise old cat, sort of grumpy. He's kind of like Walter from Jeff Dunham in cat form. It's great. And then there's Delilah, which is like Scrappy-Doo on steroids. And I said, basically, do Scrappy-Doo, because that's one of the things he's drawn. I said, do Scrappy-Doo with a narrow face. And he was able to find that, and he was able to pick it up perfectly. I think it was in there. And so that's Delilah. And so each of us make up different parts of the Serenity Acres crew. Serenity Acres is our farm in Lufkin. And so we call them the Serenity Acres crew.
And then talk about your bee.
Oh, yes. And we have an apiary. So, for example, in each one of the outdoor shots,
Mm-hmm.
how Davy has connected that is he has a bee hidden in each one of the outdoor shots. So when you're reading the book with your child, you have to look for the bee that represents Serenity Acres Apiary.
Okay. So, along with doing this children's book, you found some way to make it interactive somewhat to keep the kids' attention. That's pretty
That
neat.
was all Davy's idea with the bee. I will give credit where credit is due.
I like making things where there's like a little extra element in there, and I just thought that bee would just be really cool. One of the shows me and my kids grew up with was that show Psych, and we used to always love looking for the pineapple in every show.
Right.
And I think that was kind of like my little influence on that, just thinking, maybe there's something else we can do with every scene when the kids were outside in that meadow. It's only when they're in the meadow. When they're outside somewhere else, that's the bee's not following there. But when they're out with all their friends and everything, that's when the bee is looking over.
Since I've a couple of your books and cards, so I'm familiar with your art style somewhat. And since was it just kind of toning down things the way you do it from Charmy's Army to keep the detail in, but make it more kids friendly?
Exactly. So my cartooning style for my comic strip is a little bit more loose and friendly, and not friendly. It's a bit more, just a little bit more loose. On this one here, what I'm really striking my influence from is the Winnie the Pooh series. I love those illustrations,
That's
a little
what
soft.
I thought of when you originally sent me the Chief and Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's like
I
Chief and Sergeant's
really
Winnie the Pooh.
love those illustrations, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually planning on getting the line widths when I do the color. I'm going to do a little soft mask on top of that where I can change the line color so it's not all black ink. I'm going to do some little airbrushing on top of the line art to soften it up. So in your faces and stuff, I'll have like some little tan colors going in to kind of darken that up without it being black. It's going to really make it pop really, really
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, he's an incredible artist anyway, but what he's doing with his Chief and Sarge book is phenomenal. And so I love, like I said, I love working with him because it's a great working relationship.
Right.
So we're always on the same page, coming up with ideas for this, ideas for that. If something's not quite right, he's quick to change it.
Yeah.
And so when it puts my story with his illustrations, that's what makes a good team.
Right. And speaking of your writing, was it weird transitioning from stuff that was written on an adult level to kind of tone it down to a children's level and kind of keep it coherent?
Yes. When I write the children's books, I have to send it to my sister because my sister is a children's book author.
Okay.
And so I had to send it to her multiple times, and she's like, no, bring it back down. No. And so flipping sometimes between the children's book and the adult books, I have to make sure that I'm not in the middle of an adult book when I put the children's book because it's a little bit more simpler language when I get back. I'm like, no, I need to back that up and start it over again because I'm what's called a pantser when it comes to writing. There's usually two people, planner or pantser.
Flying by the seat of your pants or everything lined out, right?
You got it. And so I'm one of those that sits down, prays, and types, and just keeps the story flowing. And that's kind of the same idea with what I did with Chief and Sarge. When the idea came, I just started writing, and it ended up being quite a few pages for Davy. You can have compassion on him because there's quite a few illustrations.
There's a lot of illustrations.
There's a lot of illustrations. But kids, let's face it, kids love illustrations.
Right.
They love the colors. And like I said, he's a great artist. And
Right.
so, and the other beauty is he's only, 2 hours? 2
Yeah,
hours?
yeah. So if I get really slow, she can come whoop me.
But I met his wife and he's met my husband, and we all four get along really well.
Good.
So it's a really good working relationship.
So is there a date on when we'll actually see the project come out and people can purchase it, or?
That would be
Yeah, yeah. We're working on trying to get it ready for Christmas time.
It will
right?
be ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
just
So,
a matter of
yeah.
whether it be October or November, probably shooting more toward November to be
Okay.
realistic.
Yep.
But yes, it will be out before Christmas. The other thing I'm working on is I have little baby Chiefs, and I'm waiting for the Sarges to come in, and we'll be able to sell Chief and Sarge as well.
And will they be through the Texas Sisters Press site to purchase?
They'll be on my site and my Square site,
Okay.
and also any book shows that we're attending.
Okay.
But we're going to have them. They're about 12 inches tall. I'm going to make little shirts and shorts for them with their logos
Good,
on
so
them,
cute.
and maybe they'll probably even. I'm thinking about doing like a little certificate of adoption from the Little Lamb Orphanage.
That's
So you can
cool.
get them separate, or you can get them together.
And All right, will he be contributing anything to the certificates? Kind of like his little touch.
I'm sure I will.
Probably. But you know, it's a really good, like I said, relationship. We split it 50-50 when it comes to the books themselves.
Well, thank you both very much for your time. Really appreciate it.